We've all been there, that moment when everything seems to be falling apart. When the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear. When we just want to throw in the towel and give up. It is a feeling of hopelessness and defeat, where we feel like we can no longer keep going and that our efforts are in vain. Whether it is in our personal or professional lives, we have all faced challenges that have made us question whether it is worth it to continue trying. So why do we feel like giving up? One of the main reasons for this feeling is the fear of failure. We live in a society that places a lot of emphasis on success and achievement. We are constantly faced with messages of never give up and keep pushing forward, which can create a sense of pressure to always succeed. When we face setbacks or obstacles, we may feel like we are not living up to these expectations, and that can lead to feelings of shame and disappointment. This fear of failure can be paralyzing, making us want to give up before even trying. Another reason we may feel like giving up is when we are faced with challenges that seem too much to handle. Whether it is a difficult task at work, a strained relationship, or a personal goal that seems out of reach, we can feel overwhelmed and believe that we are not capable of overcoming these challenges. This can lead to a sense of hopelessness and a feeling that giving up is the only option. Also, when we face repeated failures or rejections, it can be easy to lose motivation and feel like giving up. We may start to question our abilities and feel like we are not good enough. This can be especially true in highly competitive environments, where we are constantly comparing ourselves to others and their successes. Another reason for feeling like all hope is lost is the constant barrage of negative news and events happening around the world. With the rise of social media and 24-hour news channels, we are constantly faced with images and stories of tragedy, conflict, and injustice. This can leave us feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, thinking that the world is a dark and hopeless place. Moreover, when we face personal setbacks, it can be challenging to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Whether it is a job loss, a failed relationship, or a health issue, these challenges can make us feel like we are stuck in a never-ending cycle of disappointment. We may feel like we have no control over our lives and that things will never get better. The pressure to always be successful and happy can also contribute to feeling like all hope is lost. In today's society, there is a constant need to be perfect and to have it all together. We compare ourselves to others on social media, and it can make us feel inadequate and like we are not doing enough. This pressure to meet unrealistic expectations can lead to feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. On top of these external factors, our own internal dialogue can also contribute to the feeling of wanting to give up. We may have negative thoughts and beliefs about ourselves, our abilities, and our worth. These thoughts can be loud and persistent, making us doubt our potential and causing us to want to give up on our goals. John, chapter 16, verse 33, says, "I have told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." God did not promise us a trouble-free life. The story of Elijah in the Bible was an example of trouble believers will face in the world. Prophet Elijah was known for his strong faith and his dedication to God. However, even the most faithful and strong-willed individuals can become tired and weary, and Elijah was no exception. In the book of 1 Kings, we see Elijah at a point in his life where he was physically, emotionally, and spiritually exhausted. He had just experienced a great victory over the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, where God had shown his power by consuming Elijah's offering with fire from heaven. Despite this amazing display of God's power, Elijah found himself running for his life. The reason behind Elijah's exhaustion and fear was a woman named Jezebel. She was the queen of Israel and a devoted worshiper of the false god, Baal. Jezebel was furious with Elijah for killing her prophets, and she sent a message to him, threatening to take his life within 24 hours. This was a turning point for Elijah. He had just experienced a great high on Mount Carmel, but now he was facing a great low. He was tired, afraid, and feeling alone. In his state of exhaustion, Elijah forgot about God's power and faithfulness, and instead focused on his own weaknesses and limitations. In his desperation, Elijah fled to the wilderness and asked God to take his life. He was tired of running, tired of fighting, and tired of being the only one standing up for God. But even in this moment of weakness, God did not abandon Elijah. God sent an angel to bring food and water to Elijah, giving him the strength to continue on his journey. He also led Elijah to a cave where he could rest and regroup. In the midst of Elijah's tiredness and fear, God showed up and reminded him that he was not alone. In the cave, God asked Elijah a simple question: "What are you doing here?" This question forced Elijah to reflect on his current situation and realize that he was not accomplishing anything by running away. God then revealed his presence to Elijah in a gentle whisper, reminding him that he was still in control and had a plan for his life. Through this encounter, Elijah was rejuvenated and strengthened to continue on his journey. He realized that he was not alone and that God was with him every step of the way. He also learned that even in his weakest moments, God was still working and using him for his purposes. In the end, Elijah's tiredness and fear led him to a powerful encounter with God. He was reminded of God's faithfulness, power, and presence in his life. He also learned that it's okay to feel tired and weary, but it's important to turn to God in those moments and trust in his strength and provision. Elijah's story tells all of us that even the strongest and most faithful individuals can become tired and weary. But in those moments, we must remember to turn to God and allow him to renew our strength and guide us on our journey. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 30 to 31 says, "Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Beloved, as a Christian, throughout our lives, we will face countless challenges that test our strength, resilience, and faith. Whether it be personal struggles, health issues, financial difficulties, or relationships problems. These obstacles can leave us feeling overwhelmed and hopeless. In times of distress, it can be easy to lose sight of our purpose and doubt our ability to overcome these challenges. However, as believers, we are reminded of the promises of God, which provide us with hope and assurance that we can overcome any obstacle that comes our way. One of the most comforting promises of God is found in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This verse tells us that God has a plan for our lives, and even in the midst of challenges, He has a purpose for us. This promise assures us that no matter what we may be going through, God has a greater plan in store for our lives and will guide us through our struggles. Another promise of God to overcome challenges is found in Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." God promises to be with us every step of the way, providing us with the strength and support we need to overcome our difficulties. We have a powerful and loving God who is always by our side. In Psalm chapter 46, verse 1, we are reminded that God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. God is our refuge and source of strength. He is always present and ready to help us through any situation. We can have peace in knowing that God is faithful and will never leave us to face our struggles alone. In John chapter 16, verse 33, Jesus says, "I have told you these things, so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Although we may face challenges in this world, we can have peace knowing that Jesus has already overcome them. We can find comfort in His words and trust that He will guide us through our difficulties. God promises to turn our struggles into something beautiful. In Romans chapter 8, verse 28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." God is working behind the scenes to bring about good in our lives. He can turn our struggles into something beautiful and use them to shape us into the person He has called us to be. So, what do we do as believers when feel like quitting and all hope is lost? Firstly, it is essential to understand that it is normal to feel this way at times. Life is not always smooth sailing, and we will face challenges and setbacks. It is crucial to be kind to ourselves and to remember that it is okay to not be okay sometimes. It is also helpful to reframe our thoughts and focus on the present moment. Often, we get caught up in worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. By bringing our attention to the present, we can find moments of joy and gratitude, even in difficult times. Building a support system is also crucial when we feel like all hope is lost. Talking to friends and family or seeking counseling from our spiritual leaders can provide a different perspective and support during challenging times. Prayer to God to give us strength to overcome the feelings of frustration and help us to conquer our battles, can help us conquer the feeling of quitting. Praise God during difficult time. Praise and worship are one of the keys that can get you out of your agony quicker than you imagine. So praise God and believe a change will happen in your life. Set a goal and work towards a plan so that God can bless your plan and answer your prayer speedily. Lastly, it is essential to remember that hope is not a finite resource. It can be replenished and renewed. By taking small steps towards our goals, practicing self-care, and seeking support, we can regain our hope and keep moving forward. Beloved, feeling like you want to quit is a normal part of the human experience. It can be caused by high expectations, negative news, personal setbacks, and societal pressures. However, by being kind to ourselves, focusing on the present, building a support system, praying to God, doing praise and worship, setting a goal and taking small steps, we can overcome this feeling and renew our hope for a better future. Remember, even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of hope, and you will smile again. Please do not quit. Your time of miracle is near. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. God bless you.